From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
This episode of News 8 Daily 8 is presented by Downtown Indy.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, December 15th. Another cold December day in store, mostly cloudy today with highs only getting to the mid-30s. Vice President Mike Pence will be in Bloomington today to visit a facility helping produce coronavirus vaccines and treatments. Pence will tour Catalent Biologics. The company says it's been working with more than 60 COVID-19 related projects, including Moderna and AstraZeneca's vaccines. After a tour, the vice president will lead a roundtable discussion on Operation Warp Speed. And there's reaction this morning from the first in line, rolling up their sleeves.
But I want to protect us person, and I want to protect my family, and I want to protect myself.
This is what's going to save us. This is what's going to save the lives.
If I can be that one person who helps show people that it's okay to do this, it's okay to get the vaccine, it's safe, we trust the science, we trust the methods, then I'm going to be that person.
Healthcare workers in the U.S. are receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. The scenes are playing out all across the country as the U.S. hopes to conquer the health crisis. And doctors say by Thursday, they should have their first doses of COVID-19 vaccines here in Indianapolis and central Indiana. As soon as that happens, they plan to vaccinate healthcare workers around the clock. The first person in Indiana got the vaccine yesterday at Parkview Health. The initial doses went to 6 frontline healthcare workers, and now more than 20,000 healthcare workers in Indiana have already registered to get the vaccine. IU Methodist is one of 5 pilot hospitals chosen to receive the vaccine first. By the end of the week, 55,000 doses will be in the hands of healthcare workers at 50 Indiana hospitals. There are close to 400,000 healthcare workers in Indiana. The state is expected to receive around 350,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine in the next 16 days. This week, the hospitals like Methodist and Community Health say they expect a few thousand doses that will be given first to frontline COVID-19 staff, and doctors say they are thrilled to finally be signing up to get their vaccine.
This is so exciting to me because it's the first time we can go on the offensive with this virus. And so we've been playing defense. We've been hiding from this virus, right? With social distancing and wearing masks. And we're still going to have to do that for a period of time. But again, this is the first opportunity to go on the offensive.
There is an online registry for healthcare workers to sign up for the vaccine, and a lot of people are taking advantage of it. It's also important to remember the Pfizer vaccine will require a second dose in 21 days, and the side effects are reportedly more intense the second time around. And the head of Health and Human Services says the goal is to vaccinate 20 million people by the end of December, 50 million by the end of January, and 100 million by the end of March. All of these are first doses. Experts say full vaccination requires a second shot. Once again, that's going to be later. Health officials say they do hope to reach herd immunity by the end of June. Health leaders say herd immunity will only happen, though, if enough people get that vaccine. The Surgeon General is working to make that happen. Jerome Adams says many people in minority communities are skeptical of the vaccine.
There are tens of thousands of black and brown people dying every year because they are distrustful of the system, in many cases rightly so, but also because they're not getting the facts to help restore their trust in the system.
Adams says he's working with leaders of churches, fraternities, sororities, and other groups to help build trust. Officials have said herd immunity will not happen unless 75 to 80% of Americans get immunized. Myers says it is preparing to administer COVID-19 vaccines. The grocery chain says it's partnered with the government to provide vaccines at its pharmacies. The retailer says it's working on technology to prepare for a large volume of patients while also ensuring people get their second dose. Meyer says it's also looking at physical spaces for large-scale clinics. The chain has not said when it would begin vaccinations or how many doses it would receive. And in 2 days, the FDA will consider Moderna's vaccine for emergency use after granting Pfizer emergency use authorization for its vaccine last week. The Moderna vaccine has an efficacy rate of 94.5%, while Pfizer's vaccine is at 95%. But health experts tell News 8 that 0.5% can be treated as almost equal. To put those numbers into perspective, Dr. Paul Calkins at IU Health says the measles vaccine, the gold standard in vaccines, is 97% effective. And in a good year, the flu vaccine is between 50 and 60%. He says any vaccine that is 75 or even 80% effective is better than no vaccine at all. He also says efficacy depends on three things: not getting sick before the second dose, getting the second dose on time, and how many people get the vaccine. Dr. Calkins also says vaccines are based on population and that 0.5% between the two companies could be more varied in the real world.
The difference is that in a clinical trial, you have someone who is calling all of the participants and making sure that things happen exactly on time and that everything is perfect. And real world people don't have that. They have lives, they have schedules, they miss their second dose or they get it at the wrong time. So I just think you have to assume that we probably won't necessarily see 95% out in the real world, but it should be really high.
There are a few differences between the two vaccines. The biggest is Moderna's 2 doses are 28 days apart and 21 days apart with Pfizer's vaccine. But the doctor also says that he'd be surprised if at 94.5%, Moderna's vaccine was not given approval when the FDA Advisory Committee meets on Thursday. The Electoral College vote is in. 306 electors cast votes for Joe Biden, 232 for President Trump. The decision cements Biden's victory in the November election and puts him on course to take office in 36 days.
Now it's time to turn the page, as we've done throughout our history, to unite, to heal.
Biden delivered a speech last night saying he wants to guide America past President Trump's refusal to accept defeat, saying America's system of government remains intact.
What beats deep in the hearts of the American people is this: democracy, the right to be heard, to have your vote counted, to choose leaders of this nation, to govern ourselves. In America, politicians don't take power. People grant power to them.
Biden also laid out early days of his administration, saying the priorities are the pandemic and rebuilding the economy.
I know we'll get through this one, but together. That's how we get through it, together.
The next step in the formal transition of power happens January 6th, when a joint session of Congress officially tallies the Electoral College results. Inauguration Day is January 20th. And today, Biden will headline a rally in Georgia ahead of a state's Senate runoffs. Democrats Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are challenging the Republican incumbents David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. The pair of races will determine control of the United States Senate. Going into the vote, the Democratic caucus holds 48 seats in the next Congress, and Republicans have 50. Early voting is underway in Georgia. It started Monday. Democratic organizers say they expect a visit from Vice President-elect Kamala Harris as well soon. President Trump rallied for Republicans last week, and no word yet if he plans to return. Attorney General William Barr is resigning. President Trump tweeted out Barr's letter of resignation. It started with statements about the importance of ensuring the integrity of elections. Trump has previously criticized the Justice Department's investigation over the election. And Barr says his last day will be a week from tomorrow. That's December 23rd. President Trump says Deputy Attorney General Jeff Rosen will become the acting Attorney General. And lawmakers in Washington are planning to unveil a $1.4 trillion spending bill today. It will fund federal agencies until the end of September, cutting it pretty close for Congress to avoid another government shutdown by Friday. Lawmakers still can't agree on what any kind of pandemic stimulus should look like. Today is the open enrollment deadline for health care coverage in Indiana under the Affordable Care Act. Analysts believe enrollment will be higher in 2021 than it was this year because of the pandemic. It would take a crush of last-minute signups to do it. Federal figures show 11.4 million people have coverage through the ACA this year. The most recent count from 10 days ago showed about 3.8 million people had selected plans. Daily signups are running 14% ahead of last year's pace. Indiana and 35 other states have a deadline today. The others have extended or year-round enrollment. The city of Indianapolis will announce 2 neighborhoods chosen to receive money for a facelift. The revitalization is through the Lift Indy program, which aims to drive the economy, support affordable housing, provide public amenities, and infrastructure. Normally, one area of the city is chosen for a 3-year plan. Past projects include East 10th Street, the Old South Side, and 16th Street near the Monon. This year, leaders say they're expanding to 2 neighborhoods that are disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. A wrong-way crash on the interstate killed a woman from Greenfield. It happened last night on I-65 near Lebanon. Police say an SUV going south in the northbound lanes slammed into a car. Nicole Watson was the driver of the car. Police say she died at the scene. Investigators say the wrong-way driver was Bill Rainwater. No word yet why he was going the wrong direction or whether he'll be facing charges. And today, we're hitting the first deadlines for getting packages where you want them in time for the holidays. There are also things you can do to avoid lost packages. So today is the deadline for USPS ground service. The United States Postal Service has hired extra workers to help with the influx in shipping orders. And this year, they're seeing more traffic than last. Here are a few tips. Get in line early. Know your zip code and the zip code of the person you're sending the package to. That is one of the reasons why some packages get sent to the wrong address or even lost. Make sure there's a return address on the package. Postal workers are also asking senders to take it a step further this year due to the influx in packages and impacts of COVID-19.
A great idea is to also put a piece of paper inside the package with your address, name and address, and probably your telephone number if you're the sender, and then the address of the person you're sending to. So in any situation, whether the label comes off or whatever it is, we will be able to find you, call you.
Some post office locations are open on Sundays to help with holiday shipping. Another important reminder, mail will be delivered as usual on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Day, Priority Mail Express will be delivered. All post office locations will resume normal hours on Saturday, December 26th. And today is your chance to help your neighbors and get a free ride from Indigo in return. Indigo is hosting a food drive. Donations go to the Midwest Food Bank, which provides food to people across 70 counties. If you bring a can when you board a bus, you get a free one-way ride. If you'd like to help, but you don't take the bus, you can drop off your donation at the Carson Transit Center today from 8 to 6. A long-awaited report says the state needs to make sharp cuts to pay its teachers more. The Next Level Teacher Compensation Commission outlines changes needed to come up with $600 million to pay teachers an average of $60,000 a year. Right now, the average is $53,000. The bump would push Indiana to 3rd in the Midwest in pay, up from 9th. The report has 37 recommendations ranging from increasing local taxes, paying down pension plans, and eliminating tax credits some families get for saving through the 529 program. Dan Holub is the head of the state's largest teachers union and served on that commission. He does not want most of the burden to fall on local districts.
The state can't solve this problem by moving money around locally or taking health insurance away from educator spouses or retirees, or privatizing school lunch programs.
Governor Holcomb formed the commission last year amid an outcry about teacher pay with the specific goal of increasing teacher paychecks.
Governor Holcomb formed the commission last year with the specific goal of increasing teacher pay. Now to business headlines. Indiana ranks 25th on a list of states at risk of mass evictions. Advisor Smith says 13% of renters are behind on payments. It says about 7.5% are at risk of eviction. The high school class of 2020's college enrollment rate declined 22% compared to the class of 2019, 29% for low-income high school graduates. The National Student Clearinghouse says there was a significant decline in the number of graduating seniors' enrollment in college this fall, and they blamed the disruptions caused by COVID. However, Purdue saw record enrollment in the fall, and IU reported a small enrollment dip. Only 27% of employers plan to return office-based employees to physical locations in the near term. Most are pushing back the reopening of their workplaces to later in 2021. The KPMG survey found 82% of companies are letting employees decide when they feel safe and comfortable returning to the office, with only 18% mandating that employees return by a certain date at this time. And today is a big day for Eli Lilly and Company. The Indianapolis-based pharmaceutical company is raising its dividend by 15%, which will pay out March 10th. Lilly is also holding a conference call today for investors and analysts to explain the company financials and any drug developments. Disney World will reportedly stop enhancing on-ride photos by pasting digital face masks onto maskless park guests. WDW News today says that guests began noticing that face masks were superimposed on a couple of rides. Disney now says it's putting a stop to the practice and clarified that these enhancements were part of a test run. Finally, to sports, there will be fewer fans in the stands at Lucas Oil Stadium this Sunday. Only 10,000 fans will be allowed at the December 20th game against the Houston Texans. That's down from the 12,500 originally planned. Team officials say they came to the decision after consulting with the Marion County Public Health Department. Attendance has been capped, of course, because of the pandemic. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This episode of News 8 Daily 8 is presented by Downtown Indy.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.